It's always a good idea to get your legal advice from a guy who the closest he gets to anything that's actually a law is the city website of Crowley, Texas, where it references the municipal court. Woohoo, doggy! From there, we go into the high-minded, haughty, ivory-clad towers of dictionary. And we get the definition of insurer. Because this guy, for whatever reason, I'm not entirely sure, thinks that all judges need to have a bond. Well, what we like to do in the legal field is we like to actually look stuff up if we don't know it. And stuff like this is pretty easy to look up. You look at the Texas Constitution, Article 5 talks about the judicial department. It does not say any judges need a bond, so it is not a constitutional requirement. Well, from there you go to the government code. Government code is usually where you find attorneys, and or at least in California and Texas, you find things on attorneys and judges. And they've broken up the government code into various different titles. Title 2 is judicial branch. Subtitle A is courts. Chapter 24 is district courts. I didn't do the Supreme Court, the Criminal Court of Appeals, or appellate courts, because they're all basically the same as the district courts. There is no bond requirement. This is like the main court, the court of general jurisdiction in Texas. Well, then you go on to Chapter 25, statutory county courts. All of a sudden, they require bond. Constitutional county courts require bond. Now, the difference between statutory county courts and constitutional county courts is that statutory county courts, they can deal with like misdemeanors and things like that. And you got to be an attorney to be in a statutory county court. You don't have to be an attorney. You just have to be familiar with the law. I don't know exactly what that means, but that's what it says. You got to be familiar with the law to be a county court judge. And the county court judge, they get to deal with the county court of commissioners, and they get to do like civil cases and probate. But you don't have to be a lawyer. Then you get justice courts. They need a bond, and you don't have to be a lawyer. You don't even have to know a damn thing about the law, but you do have to take some course or something in an 80-hour course to be a justice of the peace. And they don't get to do very much. They get to do very low level things that aren't going to cost anybody an arm and a leg if they really screw it up. So yeah, they have a $5,000 bond. Woohoo! All right. Then we have municipal courts. No bond. No bond for municipal courts. And municipal courts of record. Again, no bond except for Wichita Falls. Do I have it marked in here? I may not. Doesn't really matter. You could look it up. Wichita Falls, they do require their municipal court of record judge to have a bond. No other county does. You may remember that the city of Crowley is, I think, in Tarrant County. It's not in Wichita Falls. Anyway, no bond required for Darla Peavy. So all this chitter chatter about Darla Peavy requiring a bond is meaningless. He's going to make a PDF file in what appears to be OpenOffice, because that's going to be useful to you as a reference that doesn't reference any actual laws. But it's all Sticky Ketchup's opinion based on his thorough understanding of Clash with Bow and James Freeman, who are... they're judicial scholars. I'm just going to go there. Then I found this to be highly interesting. Eric the Fathead, who you wouldn't expect it from the name, but actually asks very intelligent questions, pertinent questions, dare I say. Things like, do you know these bonds exist? How do you claim this relates to a judge's performance? And Sticky Ketchup, being the genius that he is, ignores everything and decides to answer the question that wasn't asked. I guess he answers the first one. How do you propose to remove a judge from his or her position with the judicial bond? Except he doesn't reference the judicial bond, so I don't know. I don't get it. It's kind of stupid, but I guess that's what you'd expect from a guy named Sticky Ketchup. He says you can file an ethics complaint if relevant. Yeah, if it's relevant, you can. If it's not relevant, well, you still can. They'll just ignore it. But you can file it with the Judicial Qualifications Commission or equivalent Judicial Performance Commission. 2 seconds of Googling and you find out it's the State Commission on Judicial Conduct. 2 seconds. 2 seconds. You could even see disciplinary actions. Look, this is a municipal court judge. Got a public reprimand. You got a justice of the peace, public reprimand, and order of additional education. You got a probate court. This would be a constitutional county court. They could do probate. So you got public admonition and order of additional education. These two don't require education. I don't know if this one requires a law degree or being a member of the bar. If it's a court of record, if it's a municipal court of record, it would. If it's not a municipal court of record, I don't believe it does. Anywho, and anyway, so what happens is if they get a complaint, it only takes one that alleges unethical behavior, they'll investigate it. And if they find evidence of that unethical behavior, then it'll be the Supreme Court has, they have special courts for this, a 3-judge panel who will then look at the evidence, etc. There are actually attorneys who will argue for these and against. You know, there's like one arguing against the judge, and there's an attorney arguing for the judge. Typically, I mean, you'd be pretty stupid if you didn't get an attorney in one of these situations. Anywho, so yeah, that's how you do it. So we'll go back to this. If you get enough associates to do this about the same behavior by the same judge, the commission will take note. Nope. It's not the quantity of complaints that matter. It is the type of complaint and whether or not there's anything to substantiate it. And then he says if they don't act, seek judicial review by the state Supreme Court. I'm going to ask, how do you do that? Because there's no way you can do that. Even if they get, they don't go in front of the state Supreme Court. They actually go in front of a tribune, a special commission. So I don't know. What are you going to do? Are you going to sue in the Supreme Court? Because you can't get to the Supreme Court, the state Supreme Court. That's a court of final appeal for civil matters. So I would love to know your theory on how you seek judicial review by the state Supreme Court. But anyway, don't take advice from people who learned everything they know from Bao and Freeman, because that's going to be entertaining. I'm sure it'll be an airtight PDF that's coming soon about how to deal or how to bring justice to courts. I'm sure it'll be airtight. Airtight. I'm not going to poke holes in it at all, I promise. Cross my heart, hope to die. Yeah, I beat this guy up enough. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.